All right, gang, it's time to work. If you have a small playground ball, we can use that for our workout today. If you don't have that handy, a great prop to slide in and substitute with is a roll of toilet paper. So let's get started. We're gonna place the ball halfway between the knees and our hips, and we're gonna lower down into our best plank position. So you'll walk your legs back, all 10 toes are shining straight forward, hands are shoulder width distance, and we're holding our best plank. From here, we're going to do a small push-up. Make sure you keep space between the shoulder blades as the elbows melt straight back behind you. That's an exhale. Inhale back to the plank, and then we're going to shift the weight back with intention, reaching through the abdominals into a downward facing dog. So yes, it's a stretch through the backside of the body, but it's not only a release. We want to find that length and that lift. Exhale, lower down into your push-up. Inhale, bring it up. Think about that seat belt underneath the deep abdominals, right at the crease of the hips, drawing you up and back. You should feel deep abdominal engagement as we reach back, and then we're going to lower into that push-up. So keep working on your end. You want to make sure you're finding that connection between the inner thighs. Using that ball or the roll of toilet paper is going to help you find that connection, keeping the middle line of the body active. As we lower down, find that breath across the shoulder blades as we're working. Inhale, find that length and that reach in the body. Again, that seatbelt coming underneath the crease of the hips to lengthen you back. And then we find that breath to add space between the vertebra, lowering down and coming back up. Let's go for one more full set. We're reaching into that downward facing dog. Then we're going to lower into the push-up, small push-up. Last time, downward facing dog, up and back, hold and breathe, and go ahead and bring both knees down to the mat. We're going to keep that ball, but it's going to go into our hands, and we're going to go into a seated L shape. So it doesn't have to be completely in a 90-degree bend. Get as close as you can with a neutral pelvis. We're going to have the ball in the hands and lean with a flat back 3 to 4 inches. You want to feel the abdominals catching you as we hold with that flat back position. Holding that hinge, the arms come up and overhead, shoulder blades melt down, and we're going to take the ball and pass it through the hands. The right arm slides down. We're mobilizing through the scapula, through the shoulder blades as we work. Exhale as the ball lowers down. Inhale, bring it up. And you might feel a little shaky shake on the abdominals. That's okay. That is what we're after. We're toning, strengthening the core as we're improving functionality through the shoulders, releasing tension through the shoulders and the neck as we sculpt and tone the body. Find those inner thighs magnetizing as we work and hold here. We're finding lots of length in the body. The idea is to really hold that length and hold that position. You can see that Jane's demonstrating really beautifully with her head in line with her spine, and we're thinking about the ribs lifting off of the pelvis as we hold. We can kind of sink down into that position, and we're going to get a lot more out of it and really long lines in the body if we can lift off of the pelvis. Let's go for one more passing to the right, one more to the left, and we're going to go into a low lunge next. Go ahead and rise all the way up out of that position, and we're going to bring the right foot forward, left leg goes long behind us. So we're going to be nice and low to start with. I'm going to add a challenge here that you do not have to accept. You can keep your foot flat on the floor, or you can place the ball underneath your right heel. Load the weight into the ball of the right foot and into the hands and shoulders so that we have the left leg behind us and turn out. Once we're there, we're going to float the left leg up and sweep the leg forward. Inner thigh spirals towards your elbow. Inhale, lengthen it back. Exhale, swivel the leg forward. Inhale, reaching it back. We're not here for long, just a few of these. They're really awful. Finding that lift and length, really visualizing that rotation through the femur, through the thigh bone, rather than through the foot. Let's go for 2 more here. You've got this. Inhale as the leg sweeps forward. Exhale as you reach it back. Last one, stay with it. Try not to load into those hands too heavily. Reach the leg back and float the foot to the floor. All right, we are going to go into a side flexion with our right leg down. So we're going to have our right forearm on the floor and our right knee down. We are going to reach the left leg long and bring the left arm over the hip. From here, get your head in line with the spine. And on our next inhale, we're going to float the left arm and left leg up off the floor parallel. And then we're going to bring it back down to start. On this next one, we can add some flexion, arcing the left ribs. The ball reaches overhead as the left leg reaches up, and bring it back down to start. Finding that inhale and that length, opening the left ribs as the leg reaches long, and exhale, bring it down. Think about adding space between the ribs as you reach. Think about keeping the head in line with the spine as we're moving. The left inner thigh is reaching longer than the sole of the left foot. Let's go for 3 more here. We're inhaling, reaching long. Exhaling as we return to start, opening the top ribs, lifting from the bottom ribs. This is our last one. Inhale, reaching as we extend and arc. Exhale, bring it back down and lower the right hip to the floor. We're going to flip onto our back, and now that ball goes behind the crook of our left knee. We're going to go into an upside down 4-point kneeling position. Hands are in turnout just off the edges of the mat, and we're going to pick our body up into this bridge orientation. So you might want to kind of be tempted to hunker down. Think about lifting off of the shoulders and the elbows. Collarbones stay wide and head stays in line with the spine. Your glutes are lifting your pelvis up, and here we go. We're going to float the right leg up, and then we're going to set it back down. So that ball activates through the back line of the leg. The pelvis stays nice and level as we work. Inhale, bring it up, and exhale, lower it down. You'll notice the left waistline is working overtime. It's working like crazy to keep the pelvis stable as we lower and raise the leg. We want to think about that right femur head really sinking deeply into the pelvis as we lift. So as we draw that leg up, the glutes lift the pelvis up, the femur sinks into the hip socket, and we want to feel that lubrication lifting off of the shoulders. We're smiling, having a great time. 2 more like this, guys. Really lengthen the tailbone from the crown of the head. You might even want to bring your inner thigh and your knee a little closer to the midline of the body to find that connection. Leg goes down, and we come all the way down to the mat. All right, let's go into some jackknives. So what that's going to look like is the ball goes between the upper inner thighs, just like we started the workout, and we're going to lay all the way down onto the mat. We want to have our head, neck, and shoulders all the way down. Arms are long and active in the mat the whole time. We're going to think about the deep abdominals activating to invite the legs up into a tabletop position. Then we're going to inhale and extend the legs towards the sky, reaching the tailbone long from crown of the head. Now we're going to do a reverse abdominal curl to come up into that jackknife position. Legs go long towards the sky. Arms are active. We're off the neck, just on the shoulders. Here we go. We're going to exhale, crease deeply at the hips as the toes reach behind you. Inhale, legs go long up to the sky again. Lift off of the shoulders, and with control, slowly lowering down towards the floor. The tailbone touches down. Arms are active. Inhale again, float into that abdominal curl. Exhale as we lower, drawing the legs back behind us. Inhale as we bring it up. With control, slowly lower back down to the floor. Again, inhale, go into that reverse abdominal curl. I know these are really wicked. However, don't you kind of feel like a superhero doing these? And we exhale, bring it forward. Think about that length and that reach and that control on the way down. Beautiful. Think about that lift coming off of the shoulders and the neck. Gorgeous. Woo, that ball's almost losing. That's okay. These are so wicked. Do your best. This is our last one. Come up and over. Hinge at the hips. We're lowering the legs towards the wall behind you. Inhale, bring it up. This is going to be the last one. And slowly lowering down with control. Bend the knees and allow the feet to lower to the mat. Gorgeous. All right, from here, we're going to stand onto our feet. Keep that ball with you, and we're going to use it as a long lever going between the ankles now rather than the thighs. So the ball goes between the ankles. All 10 toes are shining straight forward, and we're going to go into a releve plie series. Arms start at our sides. We're going to exhale as we soften the knees, keep the torso upright. That's when the hands float up. Keeping your height the same, our heels raise off the mat. Then we inhale and float all the way up into the releve. Extend the knees up into the quadriceps. Heels go down and arms come down. Bend the knees. That's when we are going to pick up the arms with the heels. floating onto the top. I just touched my heels down, that's okay. And we're gonna bring the heels down as the arms lower. Bend the knees, heels come up, arms float up. Lengthen the legs up into the top of your releve. Arms come down as the heels melt through the floor. The idea being here, guys, that we're kind of moving through this like we're pulling taffy. We don't want to really stop and start anywhere, and we want to find that beautiful length and extension in the body. I like to think about keeping my torso upright and stretching far away from the ground, even as the knees bend. So if you can find that length, that's how you're going to find that core challenge through the body. Heels come up, navel's up and in the whole time. You might feel like you're about to drop that ball between the ankles. Me too. That's okay. Keep going. Just a few more here. Softening the knees, floating the heels off the floor. Shoulder blades melt down the spine. Inhale as we come up. Heels melt down. Let's make this the last one and the best one. Exhale as we lower down. Heels pick up. Inhale as we rise. It's getting really wobbly up there for me. And exhale as the heels lower down. And now we're going to set the ball off to the side and go into a standing crisscross. So you might have done this before on your back. We're going to do it on our feet today. So all 10 toes shining straight forward. Interlace the hands behind the base of the skull, giving you nice traction through the back side of the body. We're going to start by rotating the right elbow and picking up the left knee. This is an inhale. Exhale through center. Inhale, other direction. Right knee picks up, left side. So we are going to arc down a little bit towards that inner thigh as we inhale, but we're not shortening the front side of the body at all. Exhale, round forward. Inhale, bring it back. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and pick up the pace a little bit. We're picking up the knee, really getting that cardio working as we sculpt and tone through the waistline, inner thighs, and legs. Good. Rotating, keeping lots of length on the front body rather than adding wrinkles, making sure that we're not aiming for the elbow to touch the knee. I'm really thinking about my ribs rotating towards the inner thigh, and that's the focus rather than joints touching. I could care less if your joints touch. We want to find that length, that rotation, and the activation as we work. Inhale, find that rotation. Exhale through center. Inhale as you rotate. Keep working. As we are demonstrating this move, I want you to notice that Jane is shifting her weight very small. It's not a great big weight shift because that's how we find even more core activation here. Good. And we're thinking about, again, the ribs touching the inner thigh, not the elbow touching the knee. So think about that length on the front body as we work. Last time to the right and bring it down. Last time to the left. All right. We're going to pick up the ball again and go into our closed parallel squats. So you want to have your knees and toes glued together. We're going to have the ball in both hands. Exhale, imagine you're sitting down into a chair. So rather than moving through the knees first, I'd like you to think about moving through the pelvis first. So think about creasing at the hips as we exhale and lower down. Magnetize the outer thighs. Inhale as you rise up. A few more like this, and then we're going to layer on. The whole time we want to make sure we're keeping the ribs in line with the pelvis. We also want to think about equal weight across the soles of the feet. A lot of times we think that we need to just dump all of the weight into the heels to find a connection to the glutes. I want you also to think about the big toe, second toe active. So we want the whole sole of the foot really active. That's how we'll find the core connection, inner thighs, quadriceps, hamstrings, glutes. We'll get it all in there, guys. So find equal weight on the soles of the feet. Hold this next one down. Shoulder blades melt down the spine. And we're going to peel both heels up. Imprint the heels down. Peel both heels up and imprint the heels down. We're going to go for 4 more like that. All 10 toes are melting into the mat. We're inhaling to pick those heels up and make sure we're not popping to the top of the ankles. So work in that middle range. That's where we're going to find the best challenge and the best results. Let's hold the heels up for this next one. Last challenge here. Melt the shoulder blades down again. Recommit to that connection. All 10 toes are active and we're going to reach down and back just an inch and come up. So notice that the intention is this down and back diagonal. So it's not a bounce through the knee joint. That's really important. The intention is by broadening the sitting bones and sending your pelvis back rather than just moving from the knee. Find that beautiful length. You can see Jane has her ribs and her pelvis in beautiful alignment. Let's go for 2 more, keeping all 10 toes imprinting into the mat the whole time. This is going to be our last one. Hold. With intention, melt the heels down to the floor. Inhale and rise all the way up. All right, let's go into that 4-point kneeling hover position. So we're going to turn to face the other direction. We're going to set the ball down and go into our 4-point kneeling single leg reaches. So hands come like starfish on the mat, shoulder width distance, and walk your knees back directly under your hips about 4 inches apart. Flip your toes onto the mat. Inhale to prepare, filling the middle back with breath. Exhale as you hover the knees off of the mat. Holding this hover, we are going to float a piece of paper underneath the left leg and slowly sweep that leg back and reach into a leg extension. Then we're going to exhale, crease at the front side of the hip and draw that leg back in to start. Now the right leg gets a piece of paper under those toes. Inhale, lengthening back and creasing at that glam line right where your booty and your leg meet. Exhale, draw that leg back down. So keep on working at your own pace. We inhale to extend the leg. Good. Exhale as we bring it in. Again, we can think about that leg coming in towards the seam of the pants, just a little bit this direction. That's going to activate through the middle line of the body, the inner thigh, connecting to the opposite waistline. Inhale as we reach, really creasing at that glam line, keeping the low back long. Exhale as we draw it in. Good. Inhale as you extend back and reach. Beautiful. We're going to do 1 more each side, finding the breath, broadening the middle back while we're working, lifting the heart through the shoulder blades. This is going to be the last one on the right side. Long leg reaching and bring both knees down to the mat. Let's grab that ball again. We're going to have it underneath the left knee. So we're going to bring the ball underneath the left knee. We're going to have our hands in turnout just off the edges of the mat. Feet are 4 inches apart parallel. And we're going to pick up into that upside down 4-point kneeling position. Straight away, lifting off of the elbows and shoulders. And on the exhale, we're going to draw that left leg up and inhale as we lower down. So we want to make sure that we're not dumping into the shoulders, keeping the head in line with the spine. And as we lower down, the hamstring is working with the abdominals to deliver the leg down, and the hamstrings are holding onto the ball the whole time. I know you feel that happening, but as the leg comes up, try to find the inner thigh talking to the psoas, that suspender muscle, to bring the leg up. Try to think about the glutes lifting you up away from the floor the whole time. Change your energy to the top of that left thigh bone. So we're sinking the left thigh in and melting it back down. Let's go for 2 more here. We've got that side flexion happening with our left arm down next. Bring the foot all the way to the mat and slowly lower the pelvis to the floor. All right, we are going to have the ball in our right hand, left forearm and left knee go down onto the mat. Right leg is long and right arm is over the hip. Here we go. We're going to do 1 without the flexion just to get the movement happening. Right arm and right leg float up, parallel, and we're going to bring it back down. Then we're going to inhale, arcing over as the right leg reaches, the right ribs fan, and exhale, bring it back to start. So the temptation is going to be to get that right hip dropping back behind you. Make sure you keep everything organized. Keep the hips stacked. Inhale as we arc and reach, lifting off the left shoulder. Exhale, bring it back down. Keeping a nice neutral pelvis. Inhale as we arc. Finding length through the body the whole time, trying to make sure we don't let the bottom hip or bottom ribs drop. Let's go for 3 more here. Really fan from the ribs, reach the inner thigh of the right leg longer than the sole of the foot. This is 2. We go into our low lunge next. Last one. Exhale, bring it down and lower your hip all the way to the floor. All right, let's do that low lunge on the other side. So again, you can choose to have the ball under the heel or not. The foot is parallel. And we're gonna bring our hands to the mat just in front of our body, and that back leg is in a turned out position. Load the weight into the ball of the foot and into the hands and shoulders. From here, float the right leg up and back, and we're gonna inhale as it swivels forward. Exhale as we bring it back. Again, inhale as we swivel forward. Exhale, bring it back. So keep working as we reach with our breath. These are really challenging, so we're not going to be here a super long time. We want to visualize that femur head swimming through the dome of the pelvis as we extend and reach. Gorgeous. You can see that inner thigh spirals forward on the way towards the elbow and swivels back on the way back. 2 more like this. Find that breath, find that length. Gorgeous. Keep all 5 toes really active into the floor. Yes, this is our last one. And with control, bring that knee and foot to the floor. All right, let's go into our 4-point kneeling series with the ball in the left hand. So we're going to take our right hand to the mat. Knees are 4 inches apart, parallel. And from here, we are going to reach the right leg and the left hand outbound. We're going to go into a little choreography together here. So what it looks like is this. We're going to exhale with a flat back. Draw the knee and elbow in. I'm doing a bicep position where my palm is up. Inhale, reaching long. The arm does the same thing, but this time the right leg comes out to the side. Exhale as you bring it in. Inhale as you extend. Head is looking straight down at the mat. Last thing, we're going to exhale round and the knee draws in towards the chest. And bring it back out. Pattern through that same sequence. Flat back. Exhale as we bring it in. Inhale as we send it long. This time into external rotation with the right leg. And inhale back to parallel, palm goes down. Exhale, round and draw it in. Inhale, reach long. Flat back, draw it in. This is our last sequence through this. We're gonna go into that external rotation. Inhale as we bring it long. Exhale as we draw it in. Inhale, return, holding here for 5. For 4, really reach for that breath, reach the left hip away from the ribs and bring everything down. Okay, we're gonna go into a supine series with the ball under our pelvis. We're gonna do some bicycle work here, but not the normal kind of bicycles. It's the WundaBar way to bicycle. So take that ball under your sacrum. So it's going to elevate your pelvis off the floor and give you an unsteady surface. Arms are active into your mat. And you can adjust the ball as needed so that you feel it right at the base of the spine. All right, guys, here we go. We're gonna float the right leg up and keep the left leg on the floor. Then we're gonna float the left leg up. So now we're balancing on the ball and holding a neutral pelvis, almost like you're draping your pelvis over the ball. It's really wobbly up here, that's the point. From here, reach the right leg long. We're gonna lower it down and then bend the knee to bring it through like you're pedaling a bicycle. Left leg. Reach the left leg long, lower it down, and sweep it through. So it should be a circular movement. Right leg, draw it down, and bring it in. Left leg, reach it long, allow it to lower down, and soften the knee to draw it in. So it should be nice and fluid. We're not trying to stop or start at any point. Keeping the pelvis as quiet as possible, even as it's balanced up on top of that ball. Lengthening and reaching, exhaling, bring it in. Arms are active into the mat. Shoulder blades are melting down the spine. Inhale to reach, exhale, bring it in. Let's pick up the pace for the last few. We're gonna reach the leg long, change legs mid-air. So now it's like we actually are pedaling through. So the legs are going to change mid-air rather than waiting for one to come all the way home. You can feel that really kick into the abs even more sincerely. And if that is aggressive for you, you can always go back to one leg at a time. Let's go for 2 more here, 2 more full sets. This is the last one. Right leg reaches long, left leg reaches, come into that tabletop position. And with control, we're gonna lower the feet all the way back down to the mat. All right, let's go ahead and take that ball out. And we're gonna go into that 4-point kneel situation. This time the ball is in our right hand. Ball is in the right hand. We're gonna reach the left leg back and the right arm long. From here, parallel. Exhale as we draw it in. Inhale, lengthening back out. Exhale, left leg goes into a turned out position. Inhale, bring it back to start. Exhale, round as you draw it in. We've got 3 sets of those, guys. Inhale, nice and long. Exhale, flat back, bring it in parallel. Head is looking down at the mat. Inhale. Now we go into that turned out position. Bring it back to start. Rounding the spine like you have a helium balloon under the ribs. Inhaling for length. Last time, flat back, parallel. Reaching hand away from the toes. Going into that external rotation. Nice and long. Last one. Exhale, round and curl. Bring it all the way out, holding here for 5. For 4. This is 3, 2. And bring the hand and the foot down. All right, guys, we made it. It's time to stretch. So we're going to use that ball to help us open up through the ribs and find some beautiful rotation. So we are going to lay on our right side, and we're going to have the ball under our right ribs. We're going to take the left arm up to the ceiling, and we're going to rotate first to the floor, and you'll use that ball kind of as support to help you spiral through the spine. And then we're going to unwind and rotate towards the sky. This feels so yummy, opening the spine, just giving you some support to do that rotation. Go ahead and rotate again to the floor. Give me a second, this feels a little bit like work, yeah. Sneaky, sneaky. Inhale as you open. Exhale, bring it back to start. Last time, rotating towards the floor. So we're actually narrowing the waistline and still activating through the abs while we stretch towards the sky. And bring it back in. We're going to do a seated forward fold. So we're going to bring that ball into our hands. And we're going to sit nice and tall with our hands up and overhead. We're going to round down towards the toes. You don't have to reach. You don't need to force it. You just want to find a nice stretch here. Hold and breathe. Think about lifting under the ribs. Nice deep breath here. Slowly rise all the way back up to seated. Ball goes overhead. And let's take that other side with the ball below the ribs. So we're going to lay down on the left side. Left forearm is down, feet are stacked. From here, we are going to take that right arm up. And first, we're going to rotate towards the floor. We're going to rotate down. Try not to mash into that ball. It's really meant to be a supportive rotation point. And then we're going to inhale, open towards the sky, open through the heart, open through the shoulders. And back as we rotate down. Again, up towards the sky. Really think about the rib basket rotating around the spine. Hips stay stacked, so try not to allow that pelvis to roll with you. Last time, opening towards the sky. And bring the arm down. Go ahead and remove that ball. We did it again. Great work, you guys. Thanks for being here with us.